Imagine a life where nothing, no insult, no betrayal, no obstacle, can steal your peace. Picture a world where anger doesn't control you, where you stand unshaken while chaos swirls around. Sounds impossible? It's not. The Stoics, thinkers like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, cracked this code centuries ago, mastering their minds while others drowned in frustration. In this video, I'll unveil 15 powerful lessons from Stoicism to help you do the same. You won't just tame anger, you'll transform it, turning every flare into a chance to grow stronger, calmer, wiser. From the destructive wildfire of rage to the quiet strength of forgiveness, from rewiring your brain to finding unshakable purpose, these aren't vague philosophies. They're practical tools for real life. I've walked this path myself. Once quick to snap, I now face storms with a steady heart. Stick with me, and you'll discover how to stop reacting and start ruling your emotions. Before we dive in, hit the comments and write. Today, I begin my best version. I am Stoic, a promise to yourself to claim the peace you deserve. Ready to change how you see the world and how it sees you. Let's get started. Anger is one of the most destructive forces a human can experience, a wildfire that consumes both the individual and those around them. The Stoics, including Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, regarded it as a profound threat to virtue, not a sign of strength, but a glaring mark of weakness. When anger takes hold, it strips away rationality, turning us into slaves of impulse rather than masters of our minds. What begins as a spark, a misinterpreted word, a perceived injustice, or an unexpected obstacle, can, if fueled by ruminating thoughts, erupt into a blaze that devastates mental clarity, relationships, and well-being. The consequences of anger are far-reaching. It doesn't just ignite unnecessary conflicts, it corrodes us from within. Science echoes what the Stoics intuited. Anger spikes blood pressure, weakens the immune system, and risks cardiovascular harm. It's not a fleeting emotion, but a poison that, left unchecked, destroys both body and soul. Seneca likened it to a momentary madness, a state where we lose control of our words and actions, often leaving behind wreckage, shattered bonds, or wounds that never fully heal. A single outburst can undo years of trust. A harsh word can scar indefinitely. Yet, the Stoics offered a remedy: prevention through awareness and discipline. Marcus Aurelius urged recognizing anger's early signs to extinguish it before it consumes us. Epictetus taught that external events don't provoke us. Our interpretations do. An insult only harms if we grant it power. By reframing perceptions, we reclaim control. Anger thrives on our surrender to it, but we can choose differently. The next time it stirs, pause and ask, is this worth my peace? The Stoics remind us that true strength lies not in lashing out, but in maintaining calm amid chaos, a victory over the internal beast that seeks to rule us. Negative emotions like anger, frustration, and sadness don't arise from events themselves, but from unmet expectations, the gap between what we anticipate and what reality delivers. The Stoics, such as Seneca and Epictetus, pinpointed this as a root of human suffering. We imagine the world should align with our desires. People should treat us fairly. Outcomes should match our efforts. Life should follow our script. When it doesn't, we feel betrayed, not by the world, but by the illusions we've built. This clash fuels emotional turmoil, yet the fault lies not in external circumstances, but in our rigid demands of them. Seneca observed that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. A partner's betrayal stings not just because of the act, but because we expected unwavering loyalty. Traffic jams irritate because we assumed a clear road. Disappointment grows from the belief that life owes us something: success, respect, ease. But the Stoics argued the world follows no such rules. Epictetus advised accepting events as if we'd chosen them, stripping away resistance that breeds pain. If we stop demanding specific behaviors or outcomes, we dismantle the foundation of frustration. Consider the friend who's always late. Anger flares because we expect punctuality, yet the reality is their consistent delay. The event hasn't changed. Only our lens has magnified it into a personal affront. The Stoics urged flexibility. Drop unrealistic expectations. not to resign ourselves to apathy, but to align with life's unpredictability. We can pursue goals without clinging to precise results, softening the blow of failure. Peace emerges not from controlling the uncontrollable, others' actions, external chaos, but from mastering our reactions. By releasing the need for the world to conform to our script, we free ourselves from self-inflicted wounds, finding tranquility in flowing with reality rather than fighting it. Anger often emerges as a mirror of the ego, flaring when our sense of self feels threatened. The Stoics, including Marcus Aurelius and Seneca, understood it as a reaction to perceived slights, disrespect, injustice, or lack of recognition, rooted in our attachment to how we're seen. When someone insults us or cuts us off in traffic, we don't just react to the act. Our ego interprets it as an attack on our worth, demanding defense. This isn't about the external event, but the internal story. I deserve better, or they can't treat me this way. Anger, then, becomes the ego's tantrum when reality bruises its pride. Marcus Aurelius taught that what disturbs us isn't what happens, but our opinion of it. A rude remark holds no power unless we grant it meaning, inflating it into a personal assault. The ego craves validation, insisting others affirm our value. When they don't, we lash out, not because they're wrong, but because we've tied our identity to their approval. Yet, the Stoics saw this as a trap. If we stop taking everything personally, recognizing others' actions often reflect their own struggles, not us, anger would lose its grip. Picture a co-worker's harsh critique. The ego screams, "They're undermining me." But what if their words stem from their stress, not your worth? By detaching from the need to be revered, we sidestep the impulse to fight back. Seneca called the truest strength not retaliation, but rising above provocation. When we no longer need to prove ourselves, when our value isn't contingent on others' views, the ego quiets and anger fades. This isn't passivity, it's liberation. The Stoics urged building self-worth from within, so external barbs become mere noise, powerless to ignite the ego's fragile fuse. True peace lies in this unshakable core. Forgiveness is a powerful act that unshackles us from the chains of anger, a burden we often carry unwittingly. The Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, saw it not as a gift to the offender, but as a liberation for ourselves. Anger festers when we cling to resentment, believing it punishes those who've wronged us. In truth, it only torments us, trapping us in a mental prison where the past replays endlessly, stealing our peace. Forgiveness breaks this cycle, not by excusing harm, but by releasing its hold over our mind, restoring control and tranquility. Marcus Aurelius advised that the best response to harm is not to mirror it, to rise above rather than sink into bitterness. Holding on to anger extends the offender's power, letting their actions dictate our emotions long after the deed. A friend's betrayal might spark rage, but nursing that grudge keeps the wound fresh, punishing us more than them. Seneca taught that resentment enslaves us to our emotions, while forgiveness reclaims our autonomy. It's not weakness, it's strength, a conscious choice to stop suffering over what's done. Epictetus emphasized we can't control others' actions, only our reactions. An insult stings only if we feed its significance. Forgiveness means letting go of that weight, understanding that people act from their own flaws, not our worth. It's not about naive trust or forgetting. It's about refusing to let the past define us. Imagine the energy wasted reliving a slight. Forgiveness redirects it to healing. This isn't instant or easy. It's a deliberate process, a rebellion against the ego's urge to cling. The Stoics saw it as self-love, a refusal to let anger erode our well-being. True vengeance isn't retaliation, it's living unshaken. By forgiving, we don't free the other, we free ourselves, stepping into peace no external force can touch. The Stoics uncovered a deep link between low self-esteem and anger, viewing the latter as a symptom of inner insecurity. When we doubt our worth, external triggers, criticism, a dismissive glance, a perceived slight, ignite anger as a defensive shield. Epictetus taught that it's not others' words that wound us, but our belief in them. If we're secure in ourselves, a barb slides off. If not, it strikes a nerve, and anger flares to protect a fragile self-image. This isn't about the event, it's about what it stirs within us. Low self-esteem distorts reality. We see attacks where none exist, interpreting neutral acts as threats because we secretly fear they're true. Marcus Aurelio noted that external disturbances stem from our judgments. A coworker's critique stings not because it's harsh, but because we question our competence. Anger becomes a reflex to mask that doubt, a loud protest against feeling small. Yet, the Stoics saw this as a signal. Anger points to what we haven't resolved within. Personal experience echoes this. Once, comments about my appearance sparked fury, not because they were cruel, but because I disliked myself. The rage wasn't theirs, it was mine, born from insecurity. Over time, I shifted focus, building discipline, not defensiveness, and the same words lost their bite. The Stoics urged this: strengthen your core, and provocations weaken. Epictetus said our value isn't in others' hands unless we place it there. When self-worth grows, we don't need to prove anything. Anger fades as the need to fight for validation shrinks. Anger from low self-esteem is a call to introspect, not react. What do we fear is true? Address that, and the fuse shortens. The Stoics' wisdom holds. True power isn't in silencing critics, but in silencing the inner voice that doubts us, leaving anger no foothold. Living with purpose is a Stoic antidote to anger and chaos, anchoring us in meaning amid life's storms. Without it, existence feels aimless. Days blur into routine, frustrations loom large, and every slight becomes a battle. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, believed a clear purpose, aligned with our values, lifts us above petty irritations. When we lack direction, trivial obstacles, traffic, a harsh word, consume us because there's nothing bigger to focus on. Purpose shifts that lens, making the small stuff fade. Marcus Aurelius urged us to ask, why am I here? What matters most? Clarity in these answers steadies us. Once, I drifted through a meaningless grind, snapping at every inconvenience, delays, critiques, because my energy had no outlet. Finding purpose changed that. I chose to create, to share ideas that help others, and suddenly, the same annoyances became mere ripples, not waves. Anger waned as my focus turned to something greater than fleeting gripes. The Stoics taught that purpose isn't found. It's forged through action, a decision to live for what fulfills us. Epictetus saw it as our duty to define who we'd become, not wait for inspiration. With purpose, validation from others matters less. We're too busy building. A traffic jam doesn't ruin the day when you're driven by a mission. Challenges don't spark rage, they're steps on the path. This isn't about perfection, but priority. Energy flows to what counts, leaving little for resentment. Life shifts from a string of problems to a series of opportunities. If anger dominates, the Stoics would ask, do you have a purpose? Without one, every irritation stings. Find what lights you up, helping, creating, learning, and pursue it. Anger loses power when you're busy shaping a life that matters. Peace isn't the absence of trouble, it's the presence of meaning, drowning out the noise. Neuroplasticity offers a Stoic-aligned path to reprogram emotional responses, turning anger into calm through deliberate practice. The brain isn't fixed, it adapts, strengthening pathways we reinforce. If anger is our default, each outburst deepens that groove, making it automatic. But the Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, knew we can choose our reactions, a principle science now confirms. By consistently responding differently, we carve new neural routes, reshaping how we handle life's triggers. Anger doesn't have to rule us, we can train it out. Take a personal example. My dog once wrecked something dear to me. Normally, I'd explode, yell, fume, feel the rush. Instead, I paused, breathed, and petted him. It felt forced, like stifling a storm, but I wasn't suppressing. I was teaching my brain a new script. Each time I repeated this, opting for calm over chaos, the effort eased. Eventually, the tension faded. My response shifted naturally. Neuroplasticity proves this. Repetition rewires. What once sparked rage became trivial, not because I ignored it, but because my brain learned it wasn't a threat. Marcus Aurelius said we can't control events, only our reactions, a truth neuroplasticity backs. Anger's first jolt is instinctive, but what follows is trainable. When provoked, we can stop, breathe, and choose serenity, building a habit over time. It's not instant. Old patterns resist, craving familiarity, but persistence pays. Seneca's patience aligns here. Practice outlasts impulse. Soon, situations that once boiled our blood barely ripple our calm. This isn't pretending, it's rewiring for our benefit. The Stoics saw emotions as habits. Feed anger, it grows. Starve it, it withers. Neuroplasticity hands us the tools. Each non-angry response weakens the old path, strengthening peace. Day by day, calm becomes less effort, more instinct. We're not trapped by our wiring. We can reshape it, proving freedom lies in practice, not fate. Love and gratitude are potent Stoic remedies that dissolve anger, redirecting our focus from negativity to what truly matters. Anger thrives when we fixate on flaws, insults, injustices, losses, consuming us with its heat. Yet, the Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, taught that we can choose where our mind dwells. By turning to love and gratitude, we starve anger of fuel, not because problems vanish, but because we refuse to let them dominate. These forces shift our perspective, lifting us above reactive turmoil. Love softens anger's edge. In a heated moment, say a loved one's sharp words, we can ask, do I want to win this fight or preserve this bond? Love prioritizes connection over ego, seeking understanding instead of victory. It's not weakness, it's wisdom, recalling what we cherish. Gratitude works similarly, crowding out resentment. When anger flares, naming 3 blessings, health, a friend, a lesson, rewires our thoughts. I tested this. Once, after a rude encounter, I forced myself to think, I'm grateful for my strength today. The shift was subtle but real. Anger faded, not because the slight disappeared, but because my focus moved. Marcus Aurelius wrote of life's brevity. Why waste it on rage when love and gratitude enrich us? Epictetus added that happiness lies not in having more, but in wanting less. Gratitude reveals we already have enough. Anger can't coexist with that fullness. Practiced daily, these habits build a shield. Provocations lose their sting as we lean into what uplifts us. A harsh comment once sparked fury. Now, I counter it with, I'm thankful I can choose peace. The Stoics knew emotions follow focus. Dwell on love, and anger shrinks. Embrace gratitude, and it vanishes. This isn't denial. It's training the mind to rise. Love connects, gratitude grounds, and together, they forge a serenity anger can't breach, proving our power lies in what we nurture. Setting healthy boundaries is a Stoic practice that safeguards peace and curbs anger, ensuring we define how others treat us. Without them, we invite disrespect, constant interruptions, unfair criticism, or demands on our time, breeding frustration and exhaustion. The Stoics, like Seneca and Epictetus, taught that while we can't control others' actions, we can control our stance. Boundaries aren't about conflict, they're about self-respect, signaling what we accept and what we won't. Anger festers when we let these lines blur, but clear limits reclaim our power. Seneca noted we shape how we're treated by what we allow. If someone oversteps, say, a friend who only calls for favors, and we stay silent, we greenlight it. But a calm, firm no, my time matters resets the dynamic. It's not aggression, it's clarity. I once let interruptions derail me, thinking it made me kind. Resentment built until I said, I'm busy now, let's talk later. Surprisingly, respect grew, not relationships lost. Boundaries don't push people away, they foster healthier ties by setting mutual expectations. Epictetus stressed focusing on what's ours to govern, our reactions, not others' behavior. Without limits, we cede control, simmering in silent fury when crossed. Saying no isn't selfish, it's courage, rejecting discomfort to avoid confrontation. If a colleague's jab stings and we don't address it, we enable more. A simple, I won't tolerate that stops the cycle. The Stoics saw this as virtue, protecting our well-being, not punishing others. It's not their job to guess our limits, it's ours to voice them. Boundaries demand practice. Guilt fades as we see their worth. They're not walls, but filters, preserving energy for what aligns with our values. When respected, anger dwindles. When ignored, we reassess who belongs in our lives. The Stoics' new peace isn't passive, it's built. Boundaries aren't about controlling others. They're about honoring ourselves, ensuring anger has no room to root. Not everything deserves your attention. A Stoic principle that preserves peace by filtering life's noise. We're bombarded daily. Petty slights, idle opinions, minor setbacks. Reacting to each drains us, turning trifles into tempests. Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus taught that tranquility comes from discernment, choosing what merits our energy and letting the rest pass. Most provocations fade in time. Why squander focus on them now? Anger thrives when we overinvest in the insignificant, but selective attention starves it. Marcus Aurelius advised ignoring what doesn't serve us. A stranger's insult or a social media jab, does it alter your life? Rarely. Yet, we feel compelled to respond, defend, engage. Pause and ask, will this matter in a year? Usually no. I once fretted over every critique, justifying myself to faceless voices. It exhausted me until I realized their words don't define me. Letting go wasn't weakness, it was freedom. Epictetus warned against enslavement to others' views. If it doesn't grow us, it's irrelevant. Life's too short for every battle. A rude comment in passing, why fight it? It's their burden, not yours. Energy is finite. Waste it on trivia, and you've none left for what counts: growth, purpose, joy. The Stoics mastered this. They didn't silence the world. They tuned out its clamor. When I stopped chasing every slight, peace settled in. A coworker's snark once sparked fury. Now, I shrug. Its weight is theirs to carry. Non-reaction here is strength, not surrender. You don't need to win every skirmish. You win by choosing what's worth the fight. Anger fades when we stop feeding it attention. The Stoics' new real power isn't in controlling every outcome. It's in mastering what we let in. Filter ruthlessly. Keep what builds, ditch what breaks. Freedom isn't louder rebuttals. It's quieter cares, a mind unswayed by the small. Separating facts from beliefs is a Stoic key to peace, untangling us from self-made suffering. We don't react to reality, but to the stories we weave about it, interpretations masquerading as truth. The Stoics, like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, urged us to distinguish what is from what we think it means. A harsh word lands. The fact is someone spoke. The belief, I'm worthless, stirs anger or pain. That leap isn't inevitable. It's a choice, and peeling them apart frees us from emotional knots. Epictetus taught that events are neutral. Our judgments ignite distress. If a friend snaps, the fact is their tone. The belief, they hate me, fuels the sting. We pile on assumptions, past rejections, insecurities, until a moment becomes a myth. I once believed I wasn't smart because a teacher said so. Every challenge reinforced it, not because I failed, but because I bought the narrative. Questioning it revealed no proof, just a story I'd clung to. The Stoics pushed this. Challenge what you accept as true. Marcus Aurelius asked, is this certain? Is it as bad as I think? Often no. We're not as flawed as we fear, nor as doomed. Beliefs root in old wounds or others' voices, but they're not facts. A missed deadline isn't, I'm a failure. It's just a task undone. Strip the tail, and anger shrinks. We're left with what's real, not what's imagined. This takes discipline. Our minds spin fables fast, but clarity rewards us. The Stoics honed this mental filter, refusing to swallow every thought whole. When beliefs cloud facts, we're prisoners. When we split them, we're free. Next time anger brews, pause. What's the fact? What's the story? Ditch the fiction, and peace holds. Reality's lighter than our distortions. Master this, and the mind bends toward calm, not chaos. Developing a healthy self-image is a Stoic cornerstone for unshakable peace, rooting our worth within rather than in others' eyes. When we hinge our value on external praise or criticism, we're adrift, one day exalted, the next crushed. Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus taught that true strength lies in self-knowledge and acceptance, not validation. If our identity sways with every opinion, we're slaves to whims beyond our grasp. A solid self-image, built from honest reflection, withstands life's gusts, dimming anger's spark. Marcus Aurelius urged us to question what we believe about ourselves. Are we timid because someone labeled us so? Failures because we stumbled once? These are borrowed tags, not truths. I spent years chasing approval, molding myself to fit others' molds, exhausting and hollow. When I stopped asking, who am I really? Not what they think, I found footing. Epictetus said others' words only hurt if we agree. A critique, you're selfish, stings if I fear it's true. Reflecting, I'd ask, am I? Or not? If yes, I grow. If no, it's noise. This isn't arrogance or stagnation, it's clarity. Accepting strengths and flaws, without illusion, frees us from proving ourselves. Once, every slight felt personal. Now, secure in my core, they glance off. The Stoics saw this as liberty. No need to dazzle or defend when you know your measure. Criticism becomes a mirror, not a blade. Useful if true, irrelevant if not. I no longer bend to fit. I stand as I am, and anger fades when validation isn't my fuel. A healthy self-image isn't gifted, it's forged. Filter what defines you. Values, actions, not fleeting applause. When you stop needing the world's nod, authenticity blooms and peace settles. The Stoics knew, we're not perfect, but we don't need to be. Self-acceptance silences the clamor, rooting us where no storm can shake. The Stoics rejected the fallacy of labeling people as wholly good or bad, a simplification that distorts reality and fuels anger. Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus saw humans as complex, flawed, fallible, shaped by experiences, not fixed in moral absolutes. We judge quickly. A cruel act brands someone bad, a kind one good. Yet, this ignores the gray. Today's tyrant might tomorrow comfort a friend. Reducing others to snapshots blinds us to their humanity, stoking frustration when they don't fit our boxes. Marcus Aurelius urged seeing people as they are, products of circumstance, not caricatures. A rude clerk isn't evil. Maybe they're exhausted. Epictetus added that actions reflect knowledge, not essence. If someone betrays, it's their limit, not a verdict on their soul. I once fumed at a friend's coldness, deeming them selfish, until I learned their grief. My anger came from the label, not the deed. The Stoics taught this. Don't expect perfection, and disappointment fades. No one's all one thing. A generous soul can snap, a harsh one can soften. We've all faltered, hurt others, acted rashly, yet we seek understanding for ourselves. Why not extend it? This isn't excusing harm. It's grasping that behavior isn't identity. Judgment breeds resentment. Comprehension breeds patience. A colleague's jab once sparked fury. Now, I see their stress, not malice, and let it pass. The Stoics aimed for objectivity. People act as they can, not as we wish. Dropping good and bad calms us. We stop sorting allies and foes, reacting less to flaws. It's not naivety. Abuse still needs addressing, but wisdom over wrath. Marcus Aurelius asked, did I expect better? No one's flawless. This shift frees us from grudge-laden battles, focusing us on our own growth. The Stoics knew, peace isn't in perfect others, but in seeing them clearly, human, like us, and that's enough. The RAIN process, recognize, allow, investigate, nurture, is a Stoic-inspired method to manage anger, turning it from a destructive force into a tool for growth. Anger hits hard, a surge that demands reaction, but the Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, saw mastery in mindful response over blind impulse. RAIN offers a structured path. Instead of suppressing or exploding, we engage anger with awareness, disarming its power and reclaiming ours. First, recognize, name the anger. I'm feeling furious. This step, echoing Marcus Aurelius' call to observe emotions as external, breaks autopilot. By spotting it, we step back, no longer fused with the heat. Next, allow. Let it be without fighting or acting. Seneca noted anger's initial jolt is natural. What follows is our choice. Don't lash out. Breathe. Feel it pulse, and stay present. Resistance feeds it. Acceptance starves it. Then, investigate. Probe its roots. Epictetus taught that events don't upset us. Our interpretations do. Why this rage? A colleague's slight might mask deeper insecurity. I'm not valued. Digging reveals it's less about them, more about us, shrinking anger's grip. I once flared at an interruption, then saw it tied to feeling unheard. Understanding cooled me. Finally, nurture, heal the wound beneath. Marcus Aurelius urged self-compassion, not self-blame. If anger signals unmet needs, rest, respect, tend to them gently, not with guilt. Rain isn't instant, it's practice. Early on, pausing mid-fury felt forced, but each cycle weakened anger's hold. A slammed door once sparked a shout. Now, I run rain and respond, not react. The Stoics knew emotions pass, we decide their reign. Anger becomes a teacher, not a tyrant, guiding us to inner clarity. This process mirrors their wisdom. Freedom lies in reflection, not reflex. Master reign, and anger bows to reason, leaving peace where chaos once ruled. The Stoic wisdom in these 15 lessons offers a transformative blueprint to live free from anger's grip, cultivating a peace that no external force can shatter. From recognizing anger's destructive nature to mastering the reign process, each step, drawn from Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, builds a resilient mind. It's not about changing the world, it's about changing ourselves. Anger doesn't vanish because provocations cease, but because we learn to see them differently, through purpose, discipline, and clarity, rendering them powerless. These principles, letting go of unmet expectations, silencing the ego, forgiving to free ourselves, teach that our reactions, not circumstances, shape our state. Non-reaction and healthy boundaries shield us, while love, gratitude, and a strong self-image lift us above resentment. Neuroplasticity proves we can rewire anger into calm. Purpose gives us focus beyond petty slights. By separating facts from beliefs and rejecting simplistic good or bad labels, we embrace reality with equanimity, not resistance. This isn't passive surrender, it's active mastery. The Stoics didn't promise a frictionless life, but a way to navigate it with grace. Each lesson builds on the last. Recognize triggers, pause, reflect, and choose. I've felt it shift. Once quick to snap, I now breathe through storms, not because they're smaller, but because I'm steadier. The rain process turns fury into insight. Gratitude drowns out grudges. It's a daily practice, not a one-time fix, but the reward is profound. Freedom from emotional slavery. Start today. Commit in the comments. I begin my best version. I am Stoic. It's a pledge to reason over rage, calm over chaos. The world won't bend to your will, but you can bend your mind to peace. These lessons prove it. Anger loses when you stop fighting it and start ruling yourself. Serenity isn't found, it's forged. Take the reins, your next step awaits.